Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the December 2nd school committee meeting. I will start with a roll call. Chairperson Sean Powers is absent today, so I, Shana Canistrari, as secretary, will be chairing today's meeting. Ms. Briggs?
I'm here.
Mr. Underhill?
Here.
Mr. Mullaney, superintendent?
Yeah.
Okay. This meeting is being recorded and can be viewed on Mondays at 7 p.m. on Comcast Channel 8 or Verizon Channel 37. All meeting videos are also posted to the Millis Public Schools website under School Committee. All videos are also available on YouTube. All school committee minutes and agendas can be found on the school committee page of the MPS website. Persons wishing to speak during open session must sign in before the meeting starts. Comments are not to exceed 3 minutes in time. Individuals may not name students, staff, or parents. All topics for discussion must be limited to those items listed on this evening's agenda, and all comments must be directed to the chair. The committee may not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. All times are approximate. Do we have anyone here for public comment? Okay. So we will start with our representatives. Student representative, Nicholas. Hi.
Hi, Nicholas.
My name is Nicholas Roy, and I'm going to be presenting to you guys some things that are going on in the high school and some things that are coming up. So on December 12th, we have an early release for students, Professional Development Day. For clubs and senior projects, the Millis High School Winter Holiday Concert will be on December 17th at 7 p.m. in the Millis High School, where both the band and chorus will be presenting the holiday songs that they have been working on. Chem Club has its STEAM drop-off event for elementary students on the 19th, where students can participate in fun science activities. Drama Club finished up the Christmas Carol with really great performances and are now preparing for the METG competition in March and doing an act written by senior Chase O'Connell. DECA is doing a food drive. They're looking for peanut butter, fruit, and pasta. No Shave November just wrapped up for Active Minds, and a ton of participants actually were involved, and it raised awareness for men's mental health. Mia Young is hosting a community winter concert on the 12th as part of her senior project. And STEAM scholars have been doing their job shadows at different companies and organizations and learning more about STEAM careers, which is really interesting. And then for sports, the winter sports season just started yesterday, including boys and girls basketball, along with boys and girls indoor track and field, and several sports co-ops with other towns. That's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions?
No. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
so much,
Thank you.
Nicholas.
Have a great night.
Thank
you.
You too.
And now we will have teacher representative Ms. Copese.
I will start with, I have not followed up on the Axe production yet.
Okay.
Thanksgiving kind of interrupted. It is on my radar. I just haven't gotten an answer yet, so we will come back to that. So last week, the Clyde Brown grades K2 and 4 came over here for an abridged version of the Nutcracker on the half day on Wednesday, and the middle school also got to attend an abridged version, so that was fun. The students did a really nice job in the auditorium. They were super, like a super audience, which was just really nice to see. Also at the Clyde Brown on the 25th of November, which was last Tuesday, they held an all-school assembly to thank members of the community, and it was a wonderful celebration of thanks and appreciation. I've seen some really positive feedback about that out there in the social media community, which has also been nice. During the month of December, CFB students will be holding a food drive for the Mills Food Bank. So they coordinated with the food bank staff to ask what donations were specifically needed, and it is fruit and soup. So students in pre-K, K1 and 2 are bringing in fruit cups, and students in 3, 4, and 5 are asked to donate soup. At the middle school, big kudos to Wendy Cantareggi, Sharon Monahan, and Anna Hurley for presenting at the annual convention of the National Council of Teachers of English. These dedicated and forward-thinking educators traveled to Denver last week to share their work at this well-regarded national conference. Being selected as a presenter was a real honor given the large pool of applicants, well-known authors, and more than about 140 total sessions were run. With over 8,000 attendees, we are super proud that Millis was represented by educators who continue to bring such strong learning experiences to our students and families. Their presentations highlighted the student-led conferences that have been started upstairs in the middle school and the many ways we partner with our caregivers to help middle schoolers take ownership and pride in their learning. So a big thank you to everyone, the students, the staff who have made this work so meaningful and to strengthen our schools. In fun learning times in grade 6, students are studying figurative language and knowledge, and they're looking at body systems in science. In grade 7, the Spanish students are practicing how to make nouns and articles plural. And in science, the students are doing their engineering design process skills. They're doing the bridge design challenge now, so for all of us who've experienced that, oh, it's a good time. So they're managing their budget, testing and recording feedback, and trying to come in with a pilot item that works. The grade 8 students enjoyed an exciting experience at the Charles Dickens A Christmas Carol at the Trinity Theater. So they're going to compare the Trinity's rendition with their own class performances, and students and staff also enjoyed a special lunch prepared by Sean Fallon. In grade 8 Spanish immersion, students are learning to use comparative words to describe their school schedule with schedules from schools in Spanish-speaking countries. And grade 8 civics has started to learn about our nation's first government called the Articles of Confederation. And at the high school, let's see, the mock trial team has received this year's case from the Mass Bar Association. It is a criminal homicide case, murder by poisoning. The students have selected their roles and have begun preparing as witnesses and attorneys for both the prosecution and the defense teams. They will be meeting with retired Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court Judge, the Honorable Thomas Connors, in the upcoming weeks as they continue to prepare. And obviously, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Nutcracker is opening this weekend. So all in, we have 192 registered performers in the 3 shows. I've had probably another 20 to 30 student volunteers come out of the woodwork for me this week. We had our first dress rehearsal today, so anybody who dared to traverse the hallways along with Winter Track, so that was a good time. We had little ones going this way and Winter Track going that way. Nobody collided, so it was a good time. But the shows are Friday at 7, Saturday at 2, which means you can do the Holly Jolly Fair and the Santa Parade all in one day and hit a Nutcracker show. And on Sunday at 1, seniors Riley and Sminger and Chase O'Connell's been working backstage for years. It's their final Nutcracker with us, and it is the 17th year of the production here at Millis High School. So come check it out. I know some of you will be checking it out.
Definitely.
Multiple times.
Multiple times,
And
right?
if you don't have a student in the show, feel free to come check it out anyway. It is a delight. Any questions for me?
I don't think so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Break a leg.
Yes.
Yeah, good luck.
You don't say that in dance?
There's a French word we use that we shan't use here.
Okay.
I don't know the etymology of it, but
Yeah.
we'll just run with that.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you all tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you. Now we will move to our action items. Do we want to go out of order so we can have our guest
Sure.
join us?
Sure.
We're going to have Rob Weiss join us. He is the energy manager for the town of Millis, and he will review the decarbonization roadmap of the Green Communities Division's Climate Leaders application for certification.
Well, thank you very much. And I am Bob Weiss, and tonight I am coming as the energy manager for the town of Millis. Well, I'll start with the Climate Leaders Program. I'm sure you're familiar with the Green Communities Program, which we became a designated green community in 2015. And since then, we received from the Department of Energy Resources, which is the state's version of Department of Energy, we've received $800,000 for energy efficiency. That was the key to green communities, still exists, we're still members. I'm looking up at the ceiling because the lights that are shining upon us were part of a grant from the green communities. We replaced all the lighting all the old fluorescent lighting in this school with the LEDs that we have now. And we went on to do many projects here at the schools, with the town buildings as well through the green communities. So the next step, and again, that was all to make sure that the towns and schools and the buildings and our facilities were all more energy efficient and using, reducing our use of energy, reduced our costs as well. The next step up is climate leaders. And climate leaders, the goal here is to reduce our fossil fuels, but to reduce our use of emissions, our fossil fuel emissions. And to achieve, we have a goal to achieve. The town meeting passed a warrant article last May to align with the state's goal, and that is to achieve net zero carbon emissions by the year 2050. As with green communities, there is a considerable amount of funding available through the green community, through the Climate Leaders Program. So we have to achieve really 6 different standards, criteria, to become climate leaders. And we have completed 4 of those. We have 2 more to go. The final will be the stretch code, similar to what we did with green communities. And tonight, I'm here to ask for your approval and to adopt the plan that we're going to use to decarbonize our buildings and our vehicles, the Municipal Decarbonization Roadmap. This is a plan. So I'll start with that. It's a plan. And plans change over time. We know that. So it's not written in stone. We had a plan with the Green Communities Energy Efficiency Plan, and that changed over time, but we achieved an awful lot of energy reduction through that. We took a look at both vehicles, our vehicle fleet, and also at our buildings, and we're looking at 7 of the largest buildings in town. Because they use up about 75%, they emit about 75% of the carbon emissions in the town. And we're just talking about the municipality, not the private sector. We're just talking about the public sector here. We're looking at the Clyde Brown, we're looking at this high school, Veterans Memorial Building, the police department's building, the fire department building, and the library. We're using 2022 as our base year, and everything now is in terms of metric tons of carbon dioxide. And if you look at page 5 of the plan, that is a summary of the decarbonization that we will be looking at for the next 27 years. You'll note that the biggest reduction, and there's a graph in there somewhere, if you can take a look at that. There we are. The biggest reduction for decarbonization will be between the years, well, here it's between the years 2036 and 2040. Now, each building will have a plan of its own, and you'll notice on page 10 that a similar graph, that between 2030 and 2040, there's a large decrease in fossil heating. A lot of that is will come from 2 buildings. One is this building here. We really couldn't make the assumption that we would have a new high school or a renovated high school or what. So we're making a pretty good educated guess here that at some point the carbon-based boilers that we're using to heat the school will be fully amortized. Well, they probably have been for years, but they'll be ready to be replaced. And we're looking at the same idea for the Clyde Brown. And again, this is a 10-year span, so at some point we'll probably find ourselves looking at replacing boilers for fully electric heating and cooling. So and again, it's a plan. So there's nothing permanent about it, and it will change. We will look at it and reevaluate it, and revisit it every 3 years to see where we are, see what we've achieved, and see what we can do for the next 3 years until we get to 2050. We're going to look at the vehicles the same way. The school has a head start on our vehicle plan because you already have purchased hybrid vehicles. My understanding is they're getting some really great mileage, I understand. So we've already begun buying hybrids. The inventory, we have an inventory in here. I think it's about 4 pages of inventory. We have a lot of vehicles in this town, and we will be keeping track of all that. Now, there's actually not a lot of great detail, deep detail in this plan. Again, that's because plans change. We know that, but we'll be able to keep up with it. So tonight, I'm asking the committee to pass a motion to approve and adopt the Millis Municipal Decarbonization Roadmap as guidance when making decisions surrounding the decarbonization of school buildings and fleet vehicles, so that we can comply with the state's climate leaders' guidelines. And the proposed plan will be, as I said, updated every 3 years as plans change and our energy needs and the nature of climate change will transform. So there.
Yes, please.
I just have a couple of questions
Yes.
about everything that you have here. So this is, like you said, it's a plan, but there's not necessarily like grants involved in getting our fleet or our buildings to meet these needs. It's just kind of like a request, or
There is a there are a lot of grants involved.
okay.
And they all come, most of them will come from the Department of Energy Resources, as we did with the Green Communities Program. The plans, the grants will be matched by incentives from the utilities. So, you know, if we do a project that's a $100,000 total cost, probably about $80,000 would come from the state, and another $20,000 would come from the incentives from the utility companies.
So we wouldn't be paying any of the 100,000
That is correct. Well,
theoretically?
at some point, we look at the payback, our investment and the return on the investment. And at some point, like these lights,
Yeah.
these were what we call the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah,
We knew they were going to have a good payback.
yeah.
But we started, on the Green Communities Program, again, as the example, when we installed or replaced the heating system at the Village Street sewage pump, that's a building, it's about 10 by 10 building. I think it cost us about $40,000, $45,000 to install a heat pump there. But the payback wasn't that good. So the state gave us about $30,000, utilities gave us another $5,000, and the town made up another $3,000 or $4,000 on that. But that's as you get down the road. The first things will be, and I should mention that the first grant that will come out of our Climate Leaders designation will be as much as $1 million, and that will be to decarbonize something. So, for instance, if we were still looking at the design for the high school.
That was going to be my next question. Like,
Yeah.
I would like you to come to our next building meeting to talk about this, because on your list here under middle high school in that example 2022 year, you have written by 2027 we are replacing the water heating to, I don't know, even know what these, the water heater pump or whatever. Like, we should be doing that now then, because we're in the process of building a new building, so we should hopefully be putting more cost of, page number, I'm looking at page number 20, it says 21 on the bottom, but this like little graphy one that you have. Yeah, so right there, it says middle school, high school, and then under, I was just kind of going across. Like the next thing you want to replace the space heating in 2042, it looks like. That's like a ways off, but that's gonna get replaced now, hopefully, if the school building passes. But this 2027 one for the domestic water heating, like, that should be spoken about now if we think that that's something that needs to get done. And look at what, I don't remember off the top of my head what they're doing for that.
Yeah, I think
with
what
the
they
school?
would, because of the cost, I think they were planning on doing regular fossil fuel, but
But
a
if we can,
system
if
that
there's
can
this,
be converted.
yeah, but if he's saying there's potential for this $1 million grant, and we're already in the middle of building new stuff, I wonder if we could like marry the two together to get the new existing water heater or whatever with the better energy efficiency. I don't know how it all works, but
Yeah, I think we would have to focus in on the particular building and see what
yeah, the
can
middle
be
high
done
school,
there.
right now that we're renovating, hopefully.
Yeah, and if that's the case, it could be applied to the building. It could be applied to a new HVAC system,
Yeah.
which would have to be electric. It'd have to be decarbonizing, so it would have to convert from gas, if gas is being the current fuel, to electric.
My concern is, like, we've been working on this middle school, high school ad renovation for a few years now. And we're at the point that we're going to the town next week for a vote on hopefully passing an override. And this has not been mentioned to us at all. And I guess for me, I wish this conversation had happened even a year ago with like our designers and everybody to better understand the whole picture.
But they, as part of the MSBA process, they did look at all the different, they looked at geothermal, they looked at all different kinds. And the decision was made that for cost efficiency,
Right.
they were going to look at traditional, but implement a system that could be retrofitted later to have electric and things like that. The decision was right now,
Yes.
for our project, the electric was too expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but knowing that down the road, that could be a possibility. So those were the kind of contingencies that were made. It's a big part of, the MSBA
Right,
process.
sure.
You get extra incentive points for, decarbonized, sustainable forms of heating and venting and air conditioning. But the decision was made that at this point, at this particular time, that extra expense would throw the project off kilter.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And a newer fossil fuel system, which is more efficient, will have an impact on carbon emissions. Not as good as going fully electric, but they'll
Right,
still see a
right. It'll be a
reduction
more
from the
efficient
middle school.
Yes,
high school.
and
Electricity's expensive right now,
That too.
so there's that other side of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's great in that there's not, we have solar panels on our house and we're very into like, reducing our fossil footprint, but we have to pay the bill at the end of the day, and electricity is very expensive right now,
Right.
so we'd have
And-
to figure out how to deal with that.
And gas is expensive too. And the increase in gas, the increase in electricity, I've heard a lot of different analyses
Yeah,
of
sure.
both. And actually, the cost of gas of summer to winter is going to actually reverse itself as we get more and more heat pumps and electric use. So we have that. So there's all sorts of things that are going to enter into it. And we really need to do the analysis over, not what it's going to cost this year or next year for electric, but what it's going to cost us over the next 10, 15, 20 years, the lifetime of the installation.
If I can just shift from middle high school to like CFB. I notice we have some fossil fuel using equipment there. Do the grants cover infrastructure improvements? Like say we need to upgrade an electrical panel to a 200 amp because we're going to go with Oh,
Yeah.
an electric water heater. Because in my experience, that's not always been the case.
Oh, okay. My understanding is that, yes.
Okay.
Whatever is necessary for that, it will cover that.
Okay.
But again, we have to look at the particular situation, the particular paybacks and investments and things like
Right,
that.
yeah, understood. I'm just professionally curious more than anything else. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Briggs?
I also have a question about the electric vehicle portion of your presentation here under the procurement timeline. There's nothing on here about school buses. It's all like heavy-duty vehicles, fire trucks, F-350s, or vans, or light-duty vehicles. So I'm wondering if that is part of the plan in here or not, because it's
Nice.
listed on the fleet breakdown that we have school buses, but they're not listed in the timeline of updating them to EV models. That's my first question. And my second question is, we have tried to get 2 electric vehicle vans for quite some time now, and they weren't available. We had some trouble procuring them. There was I don't even know if we ever got
We
them.
got them. They're flex vehicles.
That it took. They're hard to purchase because they're in such high demand. So I'm
Right.
just curious how that kind of plays into this when other communities are trying to do this timeline too, and now there's no inventory like what we ran into with our 2. That I think it was 4 or 5 years we
It
had
took
them
a while,
earmarked.
and COVID didn't help. 'Cause
Yeah.
we got the grant before COVID. But no, we have those, and the latest van we bought that was from a warrant from the Capital Improvement Committee from last spring, we just got that delivered, and that's also a hybrid
Yeah.
vehicle. So
I just know
it's-
that they're,
it's-
in
it's
demand and
loosened
it's-
up a little bit.
Okay, it's been difficult to purchase them.
That is going to fluctuate
Yeah.
as demand changes, as who knows what crises changes, who knows what administration is going to be emphasizing what tax deductions can be. I mean, we're a nonprofit, but still taxes come into it, especially, do we lease buses? Or do
Yeah, we lease
them,
them
so
with
there's,
the-
with the-
there's a tax
with-
incentive there, so.
Yeah.
We lease to own,
Yeah.
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 Okay. Now, first question, we do have plans in the vehicle inventory. The large buses are Thomases, are they not? Are they Thomas buses?
Just in the write-up, it doesn't specifically call out school buses, so I was
Yeah.
just curious about
I
that.
think I see 2034, 37, 38, 39, we're
On
looking at.
this document here? where
Well, I'm
you-
looking at the inventory,
list the
which is on
vehicles.
page 20.
Right, I saw them
26,
listed on
yeah.
the inventory, I know we have them, but in your electric vehicle procurement timeline, buses aren't listed.
Yeah.
So I was just curious
Oh.
about that. I'm assuming
Yeah.
that buses will be updated
Yeah,
at some
and
point.
right,
but they're not on
we've
there.
looked into, a couple of years ago, we joined with Needham, as a matter of fact, and other communities to look at, just to get technical information on what it's gonna take to electrify the school bus fleet. And again, I hate keeping going back to money and so forth, but
Yep, that's why we're here.
it's not, at this time, it's
Yeah.
really not
It's cost
feasible.
prohibitive.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And it's very, very early in the industry's timeline, too.
Sure.
I mean, we're still coming up with buses that, at night, they discharge into the school, or into the grid, and during the day, they can recharge. And so, and there's all sorts of different kinds of inventions out there, and the technology is constantly changing, especially now, because we are at the front end of things. And so that's why we're looking at 2037, maybe things will settle down a little bit and be more predictable. You have to think, 100 years ago, the same thing was going on with automobiles and the gasoline engine and infrastructure, and where are you going to get the gasoline for your car? Somebody came up with gas stations, of course. So we're at that stage right now.
So I'm looking at the timeline for the vehicles. It looks like from 2027 to 2043, you would be looking for us to replace multiple vehicles per year. And is that based on the vehicle has reached its end of life and we would be looking to move to a hybrid type vehicle, or we're just replacing a healthy vehicle per your plan?
I wouldn't
they-
see that,
they-
like, we drive them until you can't.
Right,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like,
No,
so
they take
I-
that into consideration, the fact that it would probably be a vehicle that is no longer, is not long for service.
And for the vans, it's been good, because the cost of the hybrids has come down.
Now, you have gone to other departments in the town for approval on this? You said there were, what, 7 buildings? How does that work?
We went to the select board, and they, who signed on to this and such. And we did talk to, our consultant talked to DPW head, to the fire department, the police department, talked about the situations there. So, and most of the figures come from, just the inventory and how many of which vehicles we have, and in looking at what works in other communities, not just in the Massachusetts area, but around the country. And so, again, they're really extrapolating the numbers that they've seen around the country, and that's how they get to the vehicle replacement number in that line that goes up to from 27 to 43. We also checked in with not just the vehicles, but also on the buildings themselves, the building performances. We worked with John Engler a lot, because John is the operations person for not just these buildings, but for several for the town buildings as well, and took an inventory of each building, what kind of heating system they had, and when it was installed. So what is the amortization rate of those pieces?
Now, as far as, so here tonight, you want us to adopt the decarbonization roadmap,
Which is the plan that
which
you're
is the
showing.
plan,
yeah.
but
The document here.
you're saying that it, can change at any time and it would be flexible. If the plan hasn't changed and we get to say, the next step on your timeline, how do we go about, is that something you're like, okay, we'd like to replace this in this building or this vehicle for the school district. We're going to go and request a grant to be able to pay for it so that the town doesn't have to pay for anything? How does that?
That's
I'm
pretty
very-
much how.
how it worked with
How it
the
works. We would be
lighting.
we're constantly talking with John, again, John Engler, what's working, what needs to be replaced. And, okay, if that's the situation, let's get a cost. So we bring one of our consultants out to take a look at a cost of, let's say, replacing the hot water heating system. And consultant comes out, says it's probably going to cost this much. But consultants also know you can get that would work best in a financial feasibility. It would work best with asking the state for this much, because we know we can get this X amount from the incentives from the utilities, and they will figure out how much that we can go to the state with. That's how we did it with the green communities. Yeah, I mean, we looked at the lights and we said, okay, we're going to replace this many lights. We had a consultant come in, they counted the lights, how many, the wattage for each light, and what the need was for each light, and what do they have now, what we would be replacing them, what was the recommended replacement with them. And then we looked at, okay, how much is it going to cost? Where do we get the funding from? Well, we're going to get it from green communities, and we're going to get this much based on the wattage being replaced. We would get the X amount from the utilities. Then we had to take a look at what's the payback going to be. Is it, not that we were paying we're going to be not going to be paying cash for it, but we still had to look at what this investment is going to mean, what the payback would be. So we look at all that. Then we go to the state with those numbers. And then they make the decision about the funding.
Now, what if you come and, I guess my issue is I don't want to commit to something that's going to cost us money, or say that we have to do something that's going to cost us money, especially since we've worked so hard on a cost-effective, project for the town. I don't want to commit. I'm scared to say out loud that, you know what I mean? Like, it would be committing to something when, taxpayers are already so strapped and.
And we're sensitive to that. I mean, we're not going to come to the school and say, Tom, you did this, but it's only going to cost you about $50,000. Because, wait a minute. And so, no, we're very sensitive about that.
And if the plan changes, you'll let us know? You said it was just like a working sort of almost draft, and that like it's very flexible, nothing set in stone.
Yeah, it's a living document, as we
Okay.
say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how the green communities has worked as well,
It
right?
did, yeah. We thought we had the green communities all set to go. We had about 40 different projects we thought we were going to do in 2015. And, we did about 15 of those projects, and then we realized, okay, this isn't such a priority anymore, or this particular kind of project now is getting, the cost of it has really come down, so why don't we do that? So, we're looking at all sorts of input going into this, and so that's why the plans change. As I said, sometimes you wait 5 years, and suddenly the cost of a particular technology drops precipitously. You say, this looks like a much better deal.
And if you did all of the legwork of finding, the funding for it, and it was, if it's something that's the town doesn't have to pay for anything, that's great for us, but I'm just concerned for if it does come down to the town having to pay for something, especially if the ad renovation does pass, where we would find it in the budget, where the town would find it. I'm just concerned about the unknown of.
Right, so if 2027 comes and we haven't updated our one of the vans, nothing's gonna come, we're not gonna get in trouble, I guess, is what
Yeah.
you're,
No,
what
there's
you're,
nothing-
what you're asking.
Like
There's
basically I'm trying to
nothing
say,
mandatory.
right?
There's
Like,
nothing
What level of
mandatory.
commitment is this, I guess?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's all
Like-
it's all choice. It's going to cost us money, and we don't have it this year. We've done that for projects on the municipal side, where we looked at DPW projects that we wanted to do, and where are we going to get the money? Because the state, as I said, it wasn't the low-hanging fruit, so we were starting to go into the project that were going to cost, that had a poorer payback, and that meant the state says, if it's a poorer payback, you have to get some skin in the game here. And we said, well, we can do this because we have the money here, or we can't do that because we don't have the money. It's a choice.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing mandatory about
Okay,
about
so-
doing these
I
things.
think a lot of it, it's like the principle of decarbonizing.
Sure.
Yeah,
You know, showing our support
It's a
for
statement of
that.
intent.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. The good faith effort to doing the things laid out in the roadmap.
right,
Okay.
right.
As long as, it's clear that it's not mandatory
If we don't have the money.
if we don't have the
Oh,
money.
no. It's very much like green communities. In green communities, as I said, we did some projects knowing that we were going to pay for them, but we knew where that money was coming from, and we decided not to do some projects because we didn't know how we were going to pay for it.
Okay.
Okay. So I think after that, discussion, just to be clear for any listeners at home, it would not be something that is mandatory. We would take the plan under advisement and consideration. If something doesn't need to be replaced, we would, and something would be out of pocket. We would obviously look to be as cost efficient on everything. So I just want to put that out there with an override on the ballot next week.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Briggs.
I make a motion that we adopt the decarbonization roadmap of the Green Communities Division Climate Leadership Application for certification.
Second?
The motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And, yeah, I will be glad to follow up. And we will keep you apprised of what we're doing.
Okay, great.
We'll be working with John Engler an
Yeah.
awful lot on this, and with Mr. Maloney, so, and Mr. Mulaney, and we will at all times let you know how much we're going to get and how much we're not going to spend.
Okay.
Thank you.
That was
And
great.
Bob, we have a draft of a letter here. Would you like that signed tonight, or?
If you can sign that tonight, that would be preferable.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
It has Sean's name on it, though, so I can't.
Yeah, so I think if you put your name and then secretary of the school committee,
Okay.
would that be sufficient, Bob?
I think that would be fine. And you'll have it in your minutes.
It's in the minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be fine. I think actually that's what that's what DOER wants, more as the minutes than anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you need those, you just let us know and we can get you those.
I will do that.
Thank you for answering all of our questions.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you very
Oh,
much.
you're
Help us
welcome.
understand.
Anytime you have questions, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah, definitely.
Just over on the other side of the fields.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, move on to our other action items. Consideration to approve the November 18th meeting minutes.
Madam Chair, point of order, we don't have a quorum to approve those minutes because you weren't at the last meeting.
Okay, so we will hold that until next meeting. Okay? And up next is the consideration to approve the Wally Computer Associates quote in the amount of $7,101.
Yeah, and this is to upgrade the server at Clyde Brown. This is not an unanticipated expense. It's not like the server went down or anything like that. It's just at the end of its useful life, and so we had budgeted for that upgrade, and because the cost is over $5,000, it needs school committee approval.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Briggs?
I make a motion to approve the Wally Computer Associates quote in the amount of $7,101.
Second?
The motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Okay, do we have anything for time and learning?
Nothing for time on learning. A little later, I have some new business that came out yesterday, but we can do that in the superintendent's report.
Okay. And the chair report, MSBA update.
Please go and vote. Go
Yes.
and vote on Monday or now. Now you can start early voting. I already voted, got my vote in the other day, but you can early vote all week long. I think it's like 7:30 to 4:30 every day. And go and vote on definitely by Monday.
Every vote counts, as we've seen in the past. So if you think it doesn't matter if you don't get there and vote, please change your mind and try to get there over the next few days or end of day
Monday.
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 And then we also, with the project, if it moves forward, the next step would be hiring a construction manager for the project. And so that process will be beginning even before the vote. We want to get things lined up. So the project manager is coming out with the request for qualifications. That'll be issued tomorrow. Interested firms can come to a building meeting and tour next Tuesday, December 9th. We'll know by then if that meeting will happen or not, and we certainly hope it will be happening. And then there'll be a short list of qualified construction manager firms identified and in early January, and then they can submit proposals in February, and the expectation is that a construction manager will be in place at the end of the first week in March, and then the pre-construction work on the project would begin March 9th.
Now next is the superintendent report, December enrollment.
Okay, and December enrollment, essentially, we have 2 new students in the middle school. And of course, it's grade 6.
Of course it
My
is.
son's class, yeah.
Same thing happened last year. So Clyde Brown's at 595, same as last month. Millis Middle, 287, up 2. Millis High School, the same, 285. Ty's the same, 3. Out of district, the same, 23. So we have 1,170 students in district, 1,193 in and out. And choice students, one student, we have one more student categorized as choice, so we went up from 46 to 47.
All right. Do we have any correspondence? I
Nope.
haven't received anything.
No correspondence, just some new business. Yesterday, you may have seen in the news, the governor was at Dedham High School.
Yeah, Sean's school.
Yes, it's the Powers School, and at that, she made an announcement yesterday about the State Graduation Council's interim report. You may recall at our last meeting, we approved graduation requirements, competency determination, and I mentioned at the meeting that they'll be temporary. The state's going to come out with something. And so this is the interim report of the Graduation Council was released yesterday. So there's still a lot of work to be done. But essentially, the plan is a framework, and it has 7 recommendations. And one is a strong academic coursework, so there'd be an aligned program of studies, which would be similar to Mass Core, which is the recommended courses for enrollment in one of the state colleges or universities. And so just the Mass Core is 4 years of English, which we do already, 4 years of math, which most of our students do. Very rarely does a student not have 4 years of math. 3 years of a lab science, which is a graduation requirement already here. 3 units of history and social science, U.S. and world history among them. World history is not required here, though we do have a world history course that that a number of students take. So if this comes to be, we might have to update our curriculum to have everyone take world history, but it's still early, we'll see. 2 years of the same language, which is already a graduation requirement here. Physical education each year. 1 unit, and in the state's recommendations, a unit equals a year of study. Our high school, 5 credits is a 4-year course. So 1 year of arts and then 5 units of additional courses. So that's the Mass Core. The coursework they're recommending. And then the demonstration of mastery would be end of course assessments that are connected to particular courses. Those courses haven't been identified yet in the initial report, but there would be end of course assessments that would be designed, administered, and scored by the state. This is kind of a controversial piece.
Yeah, isn't that what the MCAS were?
In the first blush, that's what a lot of people are commenting on. So again, we're in the interim stages. That a lot of that needs to be worked out. And then a capstone or a portfolio that would be defined by the state but designed and implemented by the local school district. And then developing individual career and academic plans for each student completing the free application for federal student aid or the Massachusetts application for state financial aid. That would be one of the, it's not a requirement. Kids could opt out of it, but that's something that they're envisioning. And then a mandatory course in financial literacy, which is a great idea, but would have to train and have a financial literacy teacher. So that all
And
needs
then
to be
have a
worked out.
curriculum. Yep.
And then students having the opportunity to achieve seals of distinction in various courses. Right now, there's a state seal of biliteracy. So that would be expanded into what categories we don't know yet. So again, this is the interim report. It's not the final report. So just a few things. The State Graduation Council, it included state education leaders, administrators, there were legislators on the council, union representatives, teachers, students, parents, people from higher ed, people from the business world, people from nonprofits. They were all part of this council that issued this report. As I said, many details still to be worked out. The aspiration was to design something that met the needs of the variety of students we have here in Massachusetts. Wide-ranging, and as we see, a number of new initiatives that we're not quite sure what that would look like yet. And the final report and recommendations are due in this June. So we'll be coming back to this, but I thought it was topical since it came out yesterday, and you can read about it in the papers and so forth, too. So we shall see.
In the packet, there is something for the Girl Scouts,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
don't
that's an
see it on the
action
agen-
item.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
see it on
yeah.
the agenda.
Oh, you know what? Because that was a late breaker.
Okay,
So that would be new business.
okay.
Yeah.
And
It's a different Girl Scout group than that we currently have the waiver for.
When's our next meeting? Is it too late if we vote at the next meeting?
Yeah, they're saying the 8th or the 16th, and our next meeting is on the 16th, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it's not.
Correct.
It's not a, like voting on paying something out, a vote on a waiver of a fee, which we've historically done. So I, you know,
We can do that under new business.
yeah,
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the committee waive the fees for the Girl Scout Service Unit holiday party.
Second, sorry.
The motion has been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
great, thank you.
Sure.
And thanks for
Yeah.
remembering that.
No problem. Okay. I think that the only school committee announcement that we have is to please go and vote.
Go vote, for sure.
And our next school committee meeting is on December 16th, and then after the holidays, January 6th. Thank you, everybody.
I
Thank
move we
you.
adjourn.
Oh, yes, second. Sorry, I'm typing all the minutes out right now.
The motion has been moved and seconded, and this was all in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Great.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.